I'd missed the border crossing. There's a whole bunch of roadworks cars back there, 15k up the road, all with WA plates. Anyway, cut that bit out, that's stupid, who cares?
Good. I'm just going to go through quickly, I think you've got the side there. No fruit or veggie? No? No honey?
No, I got a quarter of a packet of corn chips and a muesli bar.
That's alright. Just go to a veggie road.
Right, so this is, I wouldn't say it's Lake Argyle, but it's not really. Lake Argyle's the other side of that damn wall there. It's the Orward River. Probably not a good spot to go swimming, I wouldn't think. Anyway, it's a beautiful spot. They say the caravan park's full, but I'm assuming that's just for caravans and not for camping. I hope so. Otherwise I've got to go to Kununurra, and I haven't heard fantastic things about Kununurra, but I haven't been there yet either, so we shall see. Well, what do you make of this? Well, I got up early, 5 o'clock, for a 6 o'clock sunrise. And that's the sunrise over there. Right, it's just brown. I don't know what that is. But I haven't completely lost hope that there might be something other than grey out there. Anyway, I'll sit here and see if I can get a decent photo. And if not, what have I lost? I've got to sit in a beautiful spot for an hour or two. Paul's Creek. It's got razor wire. Razor wire around the back of the service station, so it probably tells you something. I'm going to grab something to eat down the road a little bit. There's somewhere I can get some food there, I think. Well, I've arrived at the free camp at Mary's Pool. It's pretty good. I mean, it's jam-packed with people in caravans, of course, but I've become accustomed to that over the last few weeks. Off to Broome tomorrow. Bit of a day tomorrow, 560 k's or so, somewhere around that. Decent run. So here you go. Bit of a gap there, I'm not quite sure what I was thinking there, not much. I will report tomorrow from the road or from Broome, or possibly both, and see if Broome's all it's cracked up to be. Good morning. Well, we've got out of Mary Ponds fairly early, 7 o'clock. The Fitzroy crossing filled up with fuel again. Yeah, there's not much to recommend Fitzroy crossing. It's just pretty basic sort of a joint. Grabbed a Mrs. Max sausage roll, and remember, if it's a Mrs. Max, take it back. Ate that for breakfast at this beautiful roadside stop that has been festooned with rubbish. Heading to Broome today, where I've had to pay too much money for an Airbnb because there is literally no accommodation in Broome. I'm going to have a couple of nights under an actual roof. Charge up a few things. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to a night under an actual roof, or 2 nights actually. And it's about 430 k's from here to Broome across this fairly flat landscape, but I'm imagining there's pockets of interest as you go along, so it's quite pretty in its own way. Anyway, I'll see you in Broome. I've been going to stop and take some video or some pictures of one of these big boab trees I keep seeing. Pulled into a rest area, and what do I see? An absolute monster of a boab tree. Well, we made it to Broome. Well, nearly walked over a cliff. Anyway, so the sun's about to set. See if I can get a few photos. The Airbnb is excellent. It has a bed and a shower and a kitchen and a washing machine. Everything you need and more. You can only sleep in a tent so long before it starts to give you the shits. I think it was about 5 nights in a row. Given that Broome is more or less impossible to get accommodation in, I didn't even bother trying to find a campsite. I went straight to hotels, what if, and between 700 and 5,500 for 2 nights. I thought that was a touch excessive. So I jumped on Airbnb and found this fantastic spot. Just beautiful. It's got everything you need. Pete and Cheryl apparently are the super hosts. Haven't seen them yet, even though they're literally 20 feet over there. I've got crap strewn all over the place because, I've been cleaning and tidying and sorting and backing up video and yada yada yada. The sunset last night over Cable Beach was just incredible, but of course I had packed up and left by that stage, and I was watching it as I was riding back here, thinking I should probably stop and get set up and take a photo, but by the time I would have done that it would have gone, but it was quite something. So hopefully there'll be a repeat of that tonight and I'll have a second crack at it. Anyway, Hello. We've made it to a place called Pardue. Who the hell's we? I've made it to a place called Pardue. Tents. I've pre-tipped the chair over because the wind will blow it over. They're dongers, I think. They look pretty flash. I've got motel written on the side. It's not much of a motel. Dunnies over there, more dongers. New dongers. Caravan. Wasn't hard getting a spot. It is quite windy. It was a bit of a challenge getting the tent mounted to the ground without it blowing away, but I have managed to do that. I was going to go to 80 Mile Beach, but it would have been even windier, and the access road was 9 kilometres of corrugated sandy shit, and I set off down it, and after about half a kilometre I decided I didn't need to camp at the beach that badly, so I turned around and came back. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Pardue Roadhouse. Now, what the management team at the Roadhouse have realised is that most of the people that stay in these places are from the city, and as such they're used to a certain degree of background noise, you know, traffic noise, whatever. So what they've done, and this is genius, they've installed an enormous diesel generator right beside the campground. That's it. And you know, it just goes all night. You know, what they could have done is put it, you know, half a kilometre away, because they're not exactly short on space out here. The only thing they, you know, perhaps should add is sirens or something like that. But in any case, shout out to the Pardue Roadhouse. Absolute genius. Thanks, fellas. What a strange place it is. It's just a big industrial city with a big port. There it is there, some ships. Zoom in, you can have a look. Pretty windy. It's been windy pretty much the whole way here. It seems to be getting windier. Calmed down overnight, but now it's getting windy again. But it's a beautiful day, cool, still only about 18 degrees. So there you have it. I'm going to go and get a coffee and maybe something to eat. Typical. This is Point Sampson, and it is quite windy again. This would be a nice spot on a better day, I reckon. It's not showing its best at the present. We will we'll wander around and see what we can see. There's an ice cream truck wandering around somewhere, but I haven't spotted it yet. I can hear it, I can't see it. Got out of Point Sampson at about 8 o'clock. Went down, took some photos of the sunrise. It was a pretty specky sunrise, I have to say. One of the best I've seen in a while. And unusually, for WA, the sun rises over the ocean in Point Sampson. Doesn't make sense. Now I'm next to a big truck. This is in Wickham. I guess this is one they're not using anymore. And there's also a train here too. Also presumably retired. Lots of pipes. Glad I'm not trying to figure out what's gone wrong with that. More pipes. Good Lord. Unfortunately, they've taken the stairway off it, so you can't climb up and have a climb around on it. Probably for the best, to be honest. Yep, Red Dog. This is Dampier, in case you haven't figured it out, which is just down the road from KARRATHA, where I had breakfast in the strangest place. They served me up scrambled eggs on toast in a cardboard box. And when I asked if they had any plates, they said, oh no, we serve everything in takeaway containers. I was a little puzzled by that, but anyway, that's apparently how they do things in KARRATHA. This is Dampier Harbour or Port, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, there you go. The rock carvings on the Burrup Peninsula are between 30 and 50,000 years old, they reckon, which makes them some of the oldest in the world. They can be a bit hard to spot, but that's all part of the fun. Luckily I had a few other tourists to help me out, and between the 3 or 4 of us we managed to spot most of them. Pleasingly, they've built a urea plant directly across the road, so that's nice. Okay, found myself at the, I think it's Yanaki River, something like that. I'll dub over it if it's wrong. You won't even be able to tell. Free campground, because it was just a convenient distance from where I was to where I wanted to be, and I like free as well. It's actually pretty nice spot. I'm basically on the edge of a riverbank, so unless we have a torrential rain, I don't think I'm going to get swept away in the night. And if I do, well, you'll never see this anyway, so it's completely irrelevant. Not a bad ride today. I stopped at this service station at Fortescue River, I think it was. It's a bit peckish, so I thought I'll ask how much the ham salad roll. It's a pretty dismal looking salad roll. You know, single slice of the cheapest ham, what looked like a craft single, and you know, a couple of bits of green shit in it. $9.50. So I very carefully put it back on the shelf and said, oh look, I think I'll let you hang on to that one. So tomorrow I head up to Exmouth. Hopefully I can find somewhere to stay up there. I really don't know. I haven't had any success ringing caravan parks. It just rings out. It's one of these ones that goes to a call centre and then you sit there for half an hour and eventually you give up. I might go and put the drone up, and haven't been able to get it up for a few days. The drone, that is, because it's just been so f***ing windy, and it's finally the wind has stopped. In fact, it stopped so convincingly there's basically no breeze at all now. lighthouse. This is the Flaming Head lighthouse. I'm assuming that's the correct pronunciation. Flaming. This is just up slightly north of Exmouth. It's a pretty magical place in terms of the scenery. In terms of the tourism, it's ridiculous. There's far too many people here. I guess I'm part of the problem. $78 for a patch of gravel in a caravan park to throw my tent down for 12 hours. It does seem slightly excessive to me, but what would I know? These are old sandbags that have actually almost turned back into stone. These enormous antenna towers were built in 1963 as part of the Cold War effort in cooperation with the Americans. Beautiful looking things, aren't they? Never hated somewhere more instantly. The big prawn.